I believe I have a strong drive to learn Chinese because I realize what American Sign Language has done for me. I realize that when others learn sign language for me, the language barrier between us comes crashing down and it puts us both at ease. Or actually, it puts me at ease. My father started the story. He grew up in the Chinese community in Toronto for briefly, and then they came to New Jersey. And after that, I feel like he was very Americanized. My grandma would stop speaking Chinese to him, even though it was his first language initially growing up. And I believe, like many immigrants, she was worried of his language being hindered by not completely understanding English or being able to connect with other American kids, even American kids of color growing up. There was this standard that English had to be your first language, Western culture had to be your first understanding to be able to connect with others around you. So I believe my grandma, in her mind at that time, she was prioritizing his social interactions and potentially even safety to avoid being bullied and etc. And she stopped speaking Chinese to him at a very early age. So to this day, he doesn't really recall much Chinese. Sadly, I really wish he does. And that's another reason why I don't know Chinese either. But the main thing that people always expected me to know how to speak Chinese. And they didn't understand that. They didn't understand what it was to be Americanized. To be Americanized is to erase a lot of your own heritage in order to stay safe or feel as if you are part of the culture that is predominant in your region. And in my case, I feel like I'll always mourn not being able to know Chinese, because growing up, if I had learned Chinese when I was a baby, I had full hearing. I think I would have been able to retain it and understand it. Whereas now, I don't have full hearing. My hearing is severe. And even with 2 cochlear implant surgeries, it would be extremely hard for me to learn Chinese. And in my case, it's almost as if I grieve I have a wish that I would have been taught Chinese growing up to be able to connect with my Chinese culture more. I believe I have a strong drive to learn Chinese because I realize what American Sign Language has done for me. I realize that when others learn sign language for me, the language barrier between us comes crashing down. It instantly puts me at ease when we're using American Sign Language. And I have lived most of my life with these language barriers in front of me, being mainstreamed and not being around other people who use sign language. So I know how important it is to show others that you are willing to learn a language to be able to connect with them. It is almost this unspoken way of saying that you appreciate and respect their culture by learning their language, and that you prioritize their comfort because you are willing to put in effort yourself to make them more at ease by speaking their own language. And so I wish that this was something I could have given my relatives on my grandpa's side upon visiting them in Hong Kong. My relatives on my grandpa's side are still there, and they're getting a lot older. And I would have been able to converse with them. It would have been a gift to be able to go to Hong Kong and be able to hold a conversation with them in their own language, in my own language. I guess it makes me feel like, in a way, I also haven't even been able to claim my own heritage. But I don't think it's something I'll be able to do now, because it's hard for me to even hear English at sometimes. But regardless, I know that we would have figured out a way to communicate, also considering all of the translation applications nowadays online. But it would have been a level of connection that I wouldn't have ever forgotten. If I could learn one sentence to convey all of that to my family in Hong Kong: I waited so long to meet you. and I have so much love and respect for you, our family, and this culture. Can you please teach me everything you think would be important for me to know?